Hello and welcome to Evolve Pipedrive Podcast, which are all things Pipedrive, sales, apps, and Pipedrive Marketplace. My name is Bruce Bignell. I own and run Evolve, a technology consultancy based in the UK, working globally, helping people get more from Pipedrive and the wider tech stack through implementation, consultancy, training, and aftercare. If you're building out your tech stack, we've put together the Evolve Sales OS. It's a small list of curated apps to help you sell more, along with a free masterclass with 4 hours worth of content from the leaders in those businesses at Pipedrive, Just Cool, Surf, and Outplay. Today, though, we have a slightly different episode. I have the pleasure of being joined by Isaac Gili, the CEO at Shuffll. And in today's conversation, we'll be talking about AI, innovation, entrepreneurship, and company building. So Shuffll provides a user-friendly platform for businesses to easily create and customize high-quality videos in a fraction of the time. But I'm very excited to introduce you to Isaac in a moment, not only because he's a serial entrepreneur, having co-founded multiple businesses, he is a rare breed. He's highly technical to lead a product and design decisions. He has the marketing nous of the top CMO and is a people person. It's the holy trinity of a CEO. So before we jump in, please can you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your story of Shuffll and how you came to meet Shira, your co-founder.
Yeah. So first of all, Bruce, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah. So it's a long story, and I was an entrepreneur. I founded three companies. Second startup now. I had a consulting, like a tech consulting company, which we did pretty much um, you know, uh, super like special projects for clients, and then it grew to be like a pretty big company. But I started my journey. I was 7 years old. I started coding, so pretty much grew up as a nerd. Computer science plus math Olympics and all this stuff. And after I founded my first company, I figured out like there are like several topics that are like super interesting for me. Especially AI, especially like how AI can influence um, day-to-day jobs and like our like day-to-day activities. And in marketing, it fascinates me because it's like a mixture between creation, it's like a mixture between all the creative aspects and AI, which is super interesting for me. So I founded my first startup. We had like a small exit with the first startup. It was a mixture between AI and marketing, and now it's the second startup, and I'm super excited because like I'm doing what I love.
Yeah. And so you said from the age of 7. So what were you coding? And was this a brother that was inspiring you? Was it parents? So where did you get this computer? What was it? What walk me back? What was a 7-year-old Isaac doing?
Yeah, so yeah, it was my father. So my father was is basically an engineer, more like electrical stuff, like high voltage engineer. But he taught me physics when I was like 5 years old. Then we had like a computer, and then we had like a dial-up modem back then. I used to like fight with like everybody to like get off the phone just to like use the internet. But I remember like always like this like, assembling my computer and like always like assembling it back and helping like others like solve like their own problems. I started coding and I fell in love with this whole like thing, being able to create something of my own with the things that I understand and I love, which is like more like I would say like more logical stuff. So that's where it started, and it influenced me, and I love it. It's like basically the best form for creation for like people for like me.
And do you think when you said you then started your first business, were you ever employed, or what was found like being a business owner and starting something yourself was the only route for you to go?
Oh no, so like it started so around when I was 17, 18 years old. I used to participate in several open source projects. So then I found out that I understand like several technologies, like search technologies, data pipelines. And no, I never like worked for like anybody else, but like the first project that I had was someone that wanted help with something that I already know. So like a search engine that I knew pretty well. and then it grew from that to like the next project and the next, and then I had to bring like team members, right? Because I couldn't like handle everything myself. That's how it grew. Then we took like crazy projects like building prototypes, data pipelines, billions of records every day flowing like coming into like the pipeline. It was crazy.
Yeah, I love it. And you mentioned they're building the team. So, what have you learned about building teams? On your second business now, and how did you meet Shira, your current co-founder?
Yeah, so actually, that's like my third company. So in between, I had like a startup, and it's so different from like having like a consulting company, like let's say like an ordinary company, to like something that is more like a startup.
Mm,
Um, but it took me a while to understand like who I need to hire and why, because sometimes you think like pretty much like short term, like in a way, why do I need now?
mm.
And I figured out that you have to like look at like where you want to be in like 2 years, and who you need to bring now to be able to overcome like all the hurdles that you want like to like the things that you want to achieve, like the targets, like all the like the you have to like predict where you're gonna have like pain or things that are gonna be like stressful to do your own, and that's how like I figured it right now.
Yeah. So, predict and/or you have to just make a decision, right? Because you can't do it all. Because you can predict, but you predict in the future. I think you actually had on your LinkedIn. Some men ask why, some men ask why not. I think it's something I read on yours, which got me thinking about what you just said there about predicting. Actually, you can make real the future if you predict it and build it, right? So, has that impacted design decisions in kind of how you're looking to
Oh
build
yeah.
this new company? Because it's quite an exciting time at Shuffll at the moment, right? Because we're recording this at or beginning of September in
Yep.
2024. What's happening? What's happening in the coming months? And
Okay, so like to answer, like I'll answer like your second question, and like then I'll go
yeah,
back. So like uh yeah, it's pretty interesting right now. So we did like a soft launch, and now we're launching like full power. October 8th, we're gonna have like an event in New York. So we're gonna like host our own event. We have then like another event later in October. It's going to be in California, but we are starting to get like lots of users on a daily basis. We're starting to see like how users use it, and like the retention rate is like getting like, to like a very like respectful place. And I have to say that it's pretty interesting to see how it grows, and to try to like again like try to predict what's next, because like it's like a roller coaster. Like sometimes I tell like other founders, it's such like a painful job, especially being like a CEO, but like a founder, like an entrepreneur. Um, because like when you're happy, now you always try to think of like what's going to happen, because you know that something is going to like to go completely like it's gonna get to like a pretty bad place. So you start to like lose like the edge of like being like fully happy, because you're like always like a bit worried. But talking about like predicting, answering like your previous question, I think that being a good founder is basically solving problems. Like you have to like solve problems like all the time. And if you want to become like a good problem solver, you have to have like experience. And what is like especially like what is actually experience? It learning from like your past, and like trying to like predict what's going to happen next, and learning from your past of like the methods that you used that worked and those who didn't, and try to like predict what's going to work. And that's what usually we do constantly, right? Like we try to like and if we don't have experience, we try to test super quickly, so to get like the information
mm.
as soon as possible. uh, so it's a painful process and like an ongoing process, and like every time you have like different things that you have to focus on, but that's what excites people like me, and like probably like other founders, and you have like better founders that know that have even more experience than I do.
What do you think the right split is for that founding team? Like, because obviously you need the driving energy, you need the product
Yeah.
expert or the tech. Like, what do you think that split is?
Yeah, wow, that's a big question. Like we can talk hours like on that because like one, you have to build like good friendship and trust. So this is like the foundation of like everything, right? Because like other like if you don't do that, like it's not really like co-founders. On top of that, you need like the expertise, and you have to have like responsibilities. So like it has to be like super clear that you know how to do your job well, and it's like a key role in the startup. Um, Unfortunately, there are several like entrepreneurs that you'll see like the co-founders that they're like more like generalists, and it's going to be like sometimes it's going to be a problem when the startup matures and gets to like a point where you have to like take a division of like seven people, right?
Yeah.
But like you have to take like a part, like a very important and like integral part of the startup and building the startup.
Yeah, and that's the. I think it's good to create Jim Collins that start up the scale up, right? It's the defining the
Yeah.
uh get your responsibilities on this and those decision loops. So, do you have a framework on that in terms of that's quite interesting what you said. If you don't have experience in it, test. So, what examples would you say that you're doing at the moment with Shuffll for that kind of testing?
Oh, we test like we test everything. So everything is data driven here, like everything. So we measure every small thing. If we want to check pricing, boom, we have like a test for pricing, and then we try to come up with like, okay, what are the like the variables here, and what's actually like the most important things that we have to test, and what like and because you want to isolate it like from like other things that might happen at the same time, you need to build like a very like I would say like specific test each time. Come up with the results, get like the like next like assumptions, and then put them to a test again. What we do usually is we try to break it down. We take like a huge topic, let's say like pricing. Okay,
Yeah,
what can affect pricing? We take like the uh, let's say like the top like three tests that we want to actually perform, and then we try to even like come up with, if the result of the test is going to be A, we're going to perform these tests.
yeah.
So we have like this like tree of like I would say like two layers, like the initial test and the second like
So it
test,
starts
like
with
the
three hypotheses, and then you want to
exactly.
test those. If okay, and then what and who the people that listen to this, right? They're either on Pipedrive as
Yeah.
individual users or they're business owners, and either way, they're only listening to this because they're aspiring to do better, right? So I want to be as tactical as we can here. Uh, who's in the room? Is this you? Is it? Do you have who's in the room with? Who do you trust to have those conversations with? Or do you now delegate that to a team to run that because you've got the framework in place? Like how exactly does that? Are you doing that?
So you want to have like the key decision makers on like every like major aspect. For like people that are focused like more on like sales, they need to have like basically like CRO or like whoever like manages sales, because you have to have like the authority to actually make decisions.
Mhm.
If it's like a product, we have like the product manager there, like it has to be with the product manager. And if it's more like marketing, then measuring marketing metrics. So I would say that like you need to always find someone who is like a bit more like remote or like a bit more like distant from like the actual topic. So if
Yeah,
it's like marketing, like we bring someone else who will be more like the critic. So you will say like, what do you mean like doing this test? It's not going to be like a good enough test because we can't like basically get like any resolution because it's not like a clean test. So I would say like you need to bring like decision maker, professional, and someone who would be like the critic.
yeah.
That would be ideal. If you can't, then try to play these roles. I know it sounds like a bit, I would say like it might feel like a bit like stupid, but like try to be like critical for like every test that you perform.
Yeah. Do you know the experiment or the framework with I'm trying to think of the name of it, but with the different coloured hats?
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's a really nice way to because everyone's got an opinion of why it won't work. That's great. We can all come up with that. Why should we be doing this? What and be really specific and brain dump everything you can
yeah,
into those buckets. So sometimes even just metaphorically wearing that different hat can do that as well, right? So
Yeah, just put like a table, each column is like different hat, right?
yeah.
And try to fill in like why it won't work. I have to tell you that like most businesses, they either like don't measure, like they don't go over like the analytics enough. So first, like start with that, right? Like
Mm.
know the data, like explore, try to find like what you actually don't know yet, and then try to come up with like the right test before you try to like be like super critical why it won't work. Like try to come up with like, you know, like a decent like assumption at least. And to
Hmm.
build like a decent assumption, I would say like you have to go through knowing the data.
And at this moment where you're at, obviously quite exciting moment in the next 4 to 6 to 12 weeks. What are the key metrics that you guys are looking at?
So two things, because we have like two major aspects for us. It's for us, it's like a bit. I know like more stuff like the people here would be like sales, but like for us, it's more like marketing and like a product oriented.
Yeah.
Uh, but for us, like we measure two things. One is conversion rate, and the second is retention rate. So
Mhm.
those two things are like the. So we have like the marketing team working on conversion. Let's bring the right people in, and the product team is like more like let's keep them in and let's keep them satisfied.
Yeah.
And you have to have this like feedback loop, because sometimes the marketing people won't bring, they will bring people who actually convert, but they're not the best ones who will actually stay.
Yeah.
So you have to like build this like you have to communicate, you have to build like frameworks to communicate between the teams. And if like previously we did sales because we were like more like prone to like do like sales calls, same thing, right? Like because now you have to bring the leads, make like the sale, and then keep them happy because you want to create like upsell opportunities, you want to keep them longer. So it's just the same.
And one last piece into this kind of beginning bit of kind of, I guess, the journey of a founder. VC or bootstrapped? What and does decisions? Because I think you've done both. Is that right? And
Almost. So like I did like
okay, yeah,
we used to bootstrap for like a long time till
yeah,
we got like in my previous startup. Um, wow, that's like a big question. So I would say like you could bootstrap till you get to like a point where it's not like like the quickest way to move forward, because sometimes people just like um, raise funds because they can. I would say like try to like get to like the point where you have something that is like worth selling, not only to like clients, also to like investors, right? Because
yeah,
you don't want to like only raise like the end game is like either like IPO or like exit, right? Like so you need to build this like all like trajectory till you get to that point. Sometimes like raising like super quick won't be like the ideal way, but now I would say like usually VC is like the best way to go. Usually it's like it's going to be faster, you're going to bring talents, which is like a key indicator for like your success. Because if you don't have like strong people around you, wow, it's going to be so much more difficult to
yeah,
like execute.
yeah. It's yeah. The A team can take you so far, but when the B team turn up, um, it's
Exactly.
all those metrics just go into that dip start
Exactly. And
dipping.
it's so painful and frustrating because like the slowest person is like who is like actually like sets the pace, right?
Mm,
And you don't want to be slow, so you have to like always like bring like good people who know their like how to do their job, so you won't have to worry about that and you won't have to like cover for them.
can you talk a little bit on that in terms of your personal stories about either yourself starting multiple businesses now, and the resilience it takes to when to say no to one and say yes to the next opportunity? What's the just at the beginning of Shuffll? How did that come about? Was it a clean break? Was it a pain point that you just needed to, or an opportunity that came up that you couldn't say no to? What's the story there?
I So that's like an amazing question, because like I would love to tell you that like I was like super like smart like all the time, and I knew like how to predict like the future, but I wasn't like, honestly, I wasn't. uh, I would say that like there's something that I do now that I like the younger Isaac wouldn't do, is that I try to move all the time, like, keep on moving, execute, test, try to do like whatever you can to get like as much data as you can, as much information as you can. um, and just like break things. I know it sounds like a slogan, like something that like people just say, but keeping on like moving builds this like energy like in your team that can actually produce like new outcomes, new developments, things that you didn't see before. um, I would tell you that for us, we had to change almost everything twice. Once,
At Shuffle, you've had to kind of,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So when we just started, like it was like only like two people in like a room trying to build something, and we said like, what's gonna be cool? Because we want to start with like something cool, something that excites us, because you have to have this thing that keeps you, you know, engaged.
Yeah.
Uh, then like we did like this whole like validation process, and we figured out like, damn, this will never work. We did like a very thorough validation process. Then we built Shuffle to be something that is more like sales oriented, so like something that is more like sales led, which was extremely slow in terms of like cadence, and like how quickly we can like sell, like how quickly we can close, deal size. And we always had this thing that we knew that we have to become something that is more like self-service, and like the upsell is like actually like providing like full service. But yeah, now it's like 100% self-service, that's it. Like we got to like a point where we said like, we even like had to like give up on like a few clients, and like some of them were like pretty big. This was like a tough decision.
So that's quite. I've felt that before, where you've had to say no to clients because it goes counter to what the direction that you're moving as a business. How do you communicate that? So obviously the decision's made, and how do you then communicate that to, if there's two of you, it's a bit easier because you're probably making the decision together. But as you're growing, how do you then communicate that to the team? Um, and
Hmm.
and the follow up to that would be, actually no, how do you communicate that to the team? Because I think that I've got something to say afterwards as well.
um I think like if it's like your A team, like it's if those people are like really good, it will come from them as
Mm,
much as it will come from you, right? Because if you have like a good product manager, right, like they would tell you, listen, like the usage is not like what we actually wanted. Like if we're
yeah,
going to do, like if we're going to shift, that's what people want more. If you have like a good marketing person, they will tell you like, listen, like the market, like you have like the audience, they say that they want something, and we offer something else. So um, you always do these like small corrections, but sometimes you realize like, damn, like there are like so many small corrections that we have to do right now that we actually need like a big correction.
yeah.
um and then like it actually like makes sense, because like you hear these like voices from your team, you hear these voices from the market, and then it becomes like super like obvious, because I'll tell you that like you always have to like go over like the data, you always have to like um, build these responsibilities in your team, so you'll get like the right information, so it will be like super clear and obvious that you have to move to like a certain like direction.
And you've said a couple of times about being data led, right? So I guess you can have you and the business doesn't rely on hunches. So you might have a hypothesis, and then you would test it based on the data. How long do you give those tests? Is it a 2 week sprint? Is it a? Do you give it enough time to breathe? But how do you
Yeah, we
handle
usually
that?
try to break it down to like smaller tasks that would take like maybe a couple of weeks. If we need longer, then we have to like have like a good excuse of like why we do it longer, because like otherwise there are like so many things that like affect the test that it's not like clean anymore, it's not like
Mm.
scientific anymore. So you want to build like a good foundation for the test and execute quick, like at least like uh, quick enough so now you can move on to like the next test and like go like deeper, like go wider, like try to like find like what's next to explore.
What's some tips that you would have as a founder that has had to make those tough decisions to restart things essentially? How do you keep yourself motivated when, you know, there's all the energy when it first starts? We're going in this direction, we're going to change the world, we're going to do this, or this little part of the world we're going to change. How do you what's the self-talk that you're giving yourself? How do you identify, like, do you pull yourself away from work and lean into other elements of your identity at those times, just to kind of ground yourself? How do you handle that?
So yeah, I don't know if like my way of doing things is like healthy for like everybody, because like I have like work balance,
Yeah,
I don't know if like it's like the best for like everybody. It won't like work for like so if you need like some time for like vacation or like to chill just to get like good ideas, like look like a bit further, then you have to do that. Like it depends on like what type of like a person you actually are. um, but what actually like works for me is to basically I'm an addict. I'm an addict. Really, I love like I almost like love the pain of like
mm,
having like enough problems to solve. Like I used to like do it from like since I was like again like 7 years old, like solving problems. And I got like so used to it that sometimes I try to find problems, like even if there aren't any. And it's so funny, like Bruce, like I'm telling you, uh, like sometimes if it's like too good, like I'm trying to like poke holes, like in like
yeah,
what's actually going on. Can we do better? Um, I would suggest that like find like what actually like helps you like maybe like have like better decisions. And second, don't become an entrepreneur. And I say like people like I tell people don't become an entrepreneur because I know that if they are like addicts, it doesn't really matter. They will still do it. I
yeah,
just warn the ones who are like actually like here and there, they're not really sure, and this will never work.
yeah. It's funny. There's everyone wants to own their own business, but that I've
It's awful.
I,
It's
I've come,
awful, really.
I've come
It's
up.
pain.
I've said a couple of times, it's like having a massage and being kicked in the dick. Most like,
Exactly. Exactly. It's just
it's like,
like
oh,
it's
and you
pure pain.
it's and but I think that might become that is the superpower of a business owner. That they
Yeah.
so
Resilience.
it's the resilience part, right? And I've my last year or so, I've been um, getting to know the business community in the Brighton area a bit more, because we're based in Brighton, UK, and I've got to know more and more business owners, and I think that that's the through line, like that they're resilient people. It's amazing whether it's their first or second business, or failed marriages, and then they bounce back, um, not just in work, but they might put a lot of effort and energy into health and other things. They're just incredibly inspiring people, and they don't give up. I think that's the um, not saying it isn't for not everyone can do it, but it does take a certain. You're not just taking a paycheck. It's it's tough.
Not at all. So like it's painful. If it's not painful, it's like there's like a very small like subset of entrepreneurs that are like super rich. They come from like rich families. They have like access to anything they want. And sometimes it looks like, oh, you can do it, and it's gonna be like, it's gonna be cool. It's not a problem. Or you can see like people like raise like tens of millions of dollars, and you like I only showed like a deck, and like I got like $10 million, something like, and those like these type of stories are like people have to like understand those are like the outliers, right? Like
Yeah,
people have to like understand like how this like market works, and like what motivates basically VCs and LPs to like actually invest in like VCs, and like VCs to like invest in there's like this all like mechanism, right? And um it has to be like a bit painful, because you want to build something that others won't, or like at least like have access to like an unfair advantage, or at least build like a decent advantage. So you'll move quicker, you'll get like more things done, and you'll get to like the something that is like an IPO or an exit within like a timeline of like 10 years and not 50, right?
Mm.
And it has to be painful. Like if it won't, then, or like it's either like it's painful, or you have like access infinite amount of like dollars, like
Yeah.
virtually, right? uh, uh, Otherwise, like I don't really understand like how you can actually like do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. You said that unfair advantage. What do you think your unfair advantage is in your race that you're running at the moment?
Wow, that's interesting. Wow, that's a good question. um I think that what we've built, like the piece of technology that people don't actually see, the foundation and the engine that we built for Shuffll is so flexible and scalable that when it will take someone who is like even not like a direct competitor, like build a feature, it will take us probably like 20% of that time. It would be like 5 times quicker. So it might look like people have like features that we don't, but that trajectory, like the curve, will look like this,
Mm.
because we built like a piece of technology that is extremely flexible.
From the beginning to allow you to do that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I spent weekends, holidays, nights, days, and not only that, I came with like the experience to actually build something like that. And I always like try to like iterate and like talk to like friends that are like extremely smart, like smarter than me, like I think,
Yeah.
in several topics at least, and try to like absorb like knowledge from them. Oh, how we can implement this like to get like more advantage.
Yeah.
That's like a key factor for us, and I think like we always like try to keep like the product like in a way something that is more like gonna be like good for partnerships, because we want to like get to like a point where we scale through partnerships and not through marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it really talking to you. You know, we've had a couple of discussions but before this, but talking to there's a lot of energy, right? And the that comes from you, right? So does that weigh on you as a and how do you have the network around you to support this and what you're continuing to do?
Yes, yes, it has like a lot, like the way it is like crazy, right?
Yeah.
But I think that I found out like what type of people I need. Like I need team players around me.
Mm.
That's what I need. I need people that would be like supportive when you need to like push, and they know how to enjoy, but they also know like how to push and like go like crazy and like work like crazy hours, then relax. But like
Yeah.
that's what I need, and I feel like what I have right now around me is like the team is like so good. They're like such like good people that are like so supportive, and I try to find these people, and like the the Venn like diagram like between like people with expertise, good people, and team players. This is like so rare to find, but I try to find this type of people, sometimes even less experienced, because I know that if they are like team players and they're like dedicated, probably they will learn super quick. So that's something that is we can solve later.
And what do you have a what's your framework for that hiring at the moment? Is it do you have you strike me as a businessman and a team that would have a nice framework and like a formulaic way of interviewing. So what's particular that what you guys are doing to make sure that there is a team fit?
I would say that we try to get uh, intros and not like go like super like broad and like only like bring people from wherever. Sometimes we do post like we do open like different like job posts just to get more into the pipeline.
Yeah.
But we try to get like lots of recommendations and like
Mm.
everyone that joins the team. Sometimes it has to be like a friend of someone on our team because we want to trust their opinion. And something that we figured out that works for us is we have like certain values. Some of them like are not super American, I would say.
Yeah.
We have like zero PC culture here, like
Okay.
zero,
Yeah.
zero PC culture. You
So
can talk about,
you mean that you're all on Macs?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, yeah, I would say that like efficiency over like I would say like being like super extremely nice and like
Yeah.
hide your feelings and like building something that you can trust like the person like next to you, that when they give you like a piece of data they would have like everything to like back it up.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they will tell you like I'm not super sure, but like that's my assumption or like that's my opinion.
But
And this is like something that we test
I was
even
going
in
to
the
say it comes back to that testing the data piece, right? Because
yeah
you're if you had a hypothesis, what is a hypothesis? It's not about the person; it's about the idea that you want to
yeah
test. So if and to be efficient, you need to be able to talk straight to someone's idea about something that might be broken. So um, yeah, and
and
that
they
is
have to
where
be like super like honest and like open also, because if they skew the data a bit just so it will fit their opinion, then we achieve nothing. And I think we built this like culture of like special ops unit
mm,
that that like people rely on you and they will be there for you. It's not a family, it's
yeah,
not a family, it's like a special ops unit. And you have to like bring your A game, and sometimes you can't, but people around you are like professionals and they will help you like bring your A game. But when you send someone for like to like a special operation unit and you tell them like cover this corner for me, you want to know that they are covering this corner like the best way they can
yeah,
and they can actually execute. And this trust is so important. So we actually integrate. Uh, it really depends like what type of like role we hire, but we try to integrate several tests to see that the people that we hire can actually do that, can
mm,
actually become the people that we rely on.
yeah. No, I love it, and it does in terms of the certain requirements now. Because I was talking to someone the other day about learning to code and certain languages. With the rise of AI, what does that mean for you as a business? Like from a requirements um, level, because you might not need the full technical nous if you've got a really good co-pilot and a good framework to be work like. Where do you sit on that debate? Like, or yeah,
Yeah.
well, what's the
Th- yeah, that's like a good like relevant question. I would say like you should use AI like you would use like your car and not like ride a horse, right? Like you just like need to like you just need to like get like what you
I've got
can get from
the horse is outside.
it. So uh, yeah, you just need to like use it. So like a good marketer can use like AI in like several ways. A good salesman can use AI in several ways. Don't try to like force it on like tasks that don't like try to like solve problems that are not there. um but I would say like if you feel that you're going to if you feel like AI is going to replace you, that's like like shame on you really,
Yeah,
like because like, no matter what you do, probably you can use AI and do it better, like more scalable, more like profit. You'll have like better margins. So try to come up with like the idea of like how you can build like something around your profession to use AI and like now do it like more efficient or like better, quicker. um but yeah, in that debate like of like AI like replacing people, yes, certain roles like it will replace people, but those roles like should probably not exist, or they have like an artistic thing around them and people will always buy art
yeah,
because like it has like a story, not because it's like a nice picture.
yeah. How do you think it will impact? Certainly, you move towards kind of product led growth, right?
Yeah.
What do you I don't know what the current state of the market is with things like testing at scale for ads, for example, right? So um, landing pages and copy. Like, how do you think that's going to? Um, and is it something that you guys would look at? Or I'm just
It's so cool because like I talked to like a friend of mine who is looking for to like develop something. He's like a data scientist, but like also an entrepreneur. And I told him like, listen, like if I had something that can analyze, like really like analyze, like ad copy, art, like everything, even like create tests and come up with like a good explanation, and I would put like, I don't know, like X amount of like dollars, and I would get like results, and
yeah,
it would help me like predict what's going to happen, or like iterate like super quickly through like all these like creatives. It would be amazing. But also like if everybody would use that, that becomes like the new like
yeah,
baseline, right?
that becomes standard, yeah, and that's and why wouldn't Meta or Google just put it in? Spend your money with us, and that we've got the best, highest return on it. But so
They have good engineers that try to maximize like ad profits for Meta and Google. So it's like a battle against them. But of course, of course, you want to use tools like this and not be like in the second group that don't,
yeah,
because like it's like almost like the people that like go to like the stock market and they just like bet on things
yeah,
rather than
yeah,
like actually learn.
yeah. What? Because you've been around AI 8 to 10 years now, I guess, or maybe even
Oh,
more.
even more, like
Mm,
AI is like basically like ML is like underneath this like all umbrella of like AI. You have like machine learning, and I used to do like text like NLP. I used to like work on like algorithms for NLP, like topic modeling, things like that. Maybe like 12 or 13 years ago. So before like, and AI is like pretty old, I would say. Like you read like you read books and you have like AI and artificial intelligence like
yeah,
in them. Like the 70s, you had like statistics and like machine learning like starting to actually like bloom. And actually, you can see like some models today that rely on pretty naive models that were built in the 80s.
okay,
So neural networks, you would see them like I think like the 80s, and then because compute power became like so crazy, like cheap, now you can actually like do things that you couldn't before.
yeah. What do you think about the kind of commoditization of it, right? Because I think I just read Elon's got £100 million worth of service from
Yeah,
Nvidia for the Grok AI. What do you think do you think it just raises? You mentioned earlier about raising the level of the slowest person. Do you think you get a new floor that everyone just
yeah,
has access to, um, but then what do the very productive people do, right? Because they one person can do the work of 100 people, if they,
good.
yeah,
That's
which
how
is
we evolve.
yeah,
That's how we evolve, man.
yeah,
Which is a great name, by the way, for like a company.
exactly, yeah. It's
That's how we
always moving
evolve.
forward.
Like you don't have to uh, like like you don't have to like uh create like clay to like build a building, right? Like it's stupid to do these like repetitive tasks. So it will build a new baseline. Of course, it always like pushes like the
Yeah,
bar like up and up. And Elon will come with his own whatever model. Cool, now it's the
yeah,
baseline, everybody uses this, and then like Meta would come with like something new. That's amazing. And actually like this all like culture of like building with your audience and like building with like the users that like in the last like 10 years became like super popular is really like helps people, like really empowers people. And you can see end users create things with AI that probably you would expect not being like something that is like open to the public, but
mm,
they are.
yeah. There's some really cool. I think it all just comes down to speed to insight, right? So if
Interesting.
it's at every stage, if I want to get the answer to this, or I want to, um, I want this now. I want a website in one click websites or whatever else, right? It's speed to um, Yeah, so I
You
guess.
have to focus on the right things, right? Like you don't want to like build a website. You want to uh, put something that matters on your website, because otherwise it's just like uh, what is like a website? Like you want to have like a card that you show
Mm,
people, or you want to actually like sell something or like convey like uh, send like the right message. If you don't do that, like it's basically like not putting the website is like almost similar. So I would say like instead of like focusing on like how do I build like this like navigation bar on top and like the menu and like how do I animate things, you focus on now on making it yours.
as someone that's this just I just noticed a little bit of a paradox piece here, right? As someone that's so tuned in to the future and technology, as you are, you're building something around video and about the personal touch, right? So you understand what that is and the importance of people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why we don't do avatars. Like for us, like the basically like the slogan is like everything is AI but you. Because
yeah,
like what is actually marketing? What is sales? If you want to create like a good sales or marketing videos, and it's not like trying to build this like learning and development like tutorial or whatever. You want to build connection. You want to create this like you want to people to trust you, right? You want them to actually say, "Oh, this guy knows what he's doing." If an avatar speaks what you're, that's like that's such like a poor experience in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, like avatars, they have like. If you want to build like videos for the masses and you want to create like a lecture, you want to create this like all like set of like tutorials. That's amazing. Why
yeah,
would you put like a person? Uh, Companies like Synthesia, DAD, Hour One are like amazing companies that really push the boundaries, by the way. And I appreciate it. But for videos for marketing and sales, that's so wrong. And I'm like actually like the first guy that would tell you that if you want to sell someone like me and I don't trust you, like it doesn't really matter like what type of like product you actually sell.
yeah. It's funny because I think it's like I feel like LinkedIn for me is the last bastion of the one-to-one kind of business to business
Right.
conversation. Um,
Oh, that's interesting, by the way.
and at the moment, was it Gary Vee used to say, marketeers ruin every kind of new technology that goes out. So everyone used to read every single email. Everyone used to read every line of every email that came through. I now use
And
my
then you bombard people with
yeah.
emails, and now that's it.
I don't even read my personal emails. It's if I search it. So I don't check my personal emails daily.
Wow, crazy.
For work, obviously, I've got my work inbox, but my personal email account, I search it. So because it's archived and it's just I'll just if I know something's there, I'll search it. I don't look at it daily, because all of my important things are going to my work. My wife will tell you otherwise, but that's um,
Dude,
it's
don't let her watch this like part of the video. We'll edit it out. Like, don't
um,
worry.
but it feels like the last place. So why did I say that? I we all be bombarded with these kind of message bots on LinkedIn. So because it's a new inbox to kind of send messages to, right? If you
Who looks at
respond,
these things? Like, really, like you read like the first two sentences and you immediately know that it was like generated or like a template. And now what you actually did is you made everybody not use these type of messages anymore, which is so annoying
yeah,
because like that's like so like we got to like a place where like there was like everything is like boring now. Everything is boring. Like every like type of email that you're gonna get, you're gonna be like super critical and you're gonna say like, no, first I don't want to read it. There's nothing interesting here. Now convince me that I'm wrong. And this is so tough. And Gary Vee, I think like he was right. Like
mm.
it's like actually ruining communication. But what you said about LinkedIn was super interesting.
yeah. The reason I think LinkedIn's slightly different to a lot of these things. I think the email inbox is going to change in the next 4 weeks when iOS come out with their new
Yeah.
iOS, and it will read your emails for you and put the most six most important things at the top, and that will impact everything else. So that will change
Yeah.
everything. Was it iOS 17 or 18, whatever it will be? That will change a lot of things. But the reason we are on our phones more and more, and the reason I think LinkedIn's there, because we check it as a social channel, but it's not social, right? And the messaging inbox there is important because you can actually send a quick video from there. The audio clips are fine, but I think you can now have fake audio clips essentially, and you just jump those in. But I will send video messages to anyone that connects to me, and or during my sales process. They always watch it, so the engagement's 90% plus. You'll get a comment that says, "This is awesome. I knew you were the right people to talk to about X." Now, I don't think everyone can use video, and it doesn't work in every single moment.
Right.
But if you're comfortable with it, and you're not necessarily pitching, you're either asking questions or being curious or adding value to your previous meeting, it's a game changer. And
You mean with like outreach, right? Like you mean with
with
like
outreach and or to flesh out
because you can also build your content like on your page, and people will see like that you're like an expert in your field, and they will come to you.
so you can speak more to this, right? So what does video bring as a so why do you focus on video?
I think like video is like the best form to like create connection to someone that you talk to. When you're not next to them, right? Because you can't meet everybody. And today, you can become a thought leader, an expert, or like even someone who wants to build a personal connection. So even if you're not like an expert of your field, but like you have this um, like personality that you want to show people, or you want to show them like why you do what you do, and you want to get people's engagement. So that's why we do video, and that's why we want you to focus on bringing yourself, and we'll take care of like everything else to create like if it was like an agency that helped you produce the video, right? Like we'll help you come up with the idea, develop the storyline, edit the video for you, like everything like automatic, because we want you to get yourself out there. And I would say that building like a good content strategy is something that every business should focus on and actually like invest at least some efforts, if not
Yeah.
like lots of like effort.
Yeah, so where do you come down to the who does that lean on? Sorry, where does that lean on to? So, what department should be doing it? Is it the kind of CRO? Is it the marketing? And who should be doing it? Should it be every SDR? Should the senior leadership
Oh,
team be
that's
doing it?
interesting.
Who should be doing it?
So it really depends like the nature of the company, because sometimes I would tell you like even technical people can be like in front of a camera. So we told like we have like a client, like a pretty big client, I would say, that they are like they're what you would call like a boring company. Okay. But they sell to other companies that rely on them to actually like do what they do best. And if you put like the marketing person like in front of the camera, that's like the worst. Or like the if you put like the salesperson like in front of the camera, that's the worst thing that you can actually do with these type of clients. And you want to put like the experts, the ones that know how to build algorithms, the ones that want to put like that know how to build like tech.
Yeah.
For others, it might be the SDRs. I would definitely say that you have to have like at least like two levels. Like I would say like SDR level / marketing, and C-suite VPs that actually share the values or like talk about like the company like a more like a broad like perspective.
Yeah, I think that's quite a nice way for us to look to park this car. I think this has been a wonderful conversation. Like from my side, I've said to you before we started, we look to talk to the individual users, so people on the ground, the salespeople, and the business owners, and I think that's a kind of a nice way to kind of look to wrap this up. But from my, and hopefully we can do another one, because I think we could go another hour or so. And
We
keep
can
going.
talk. I think like we can talk days.
Yeah, we can talk for days. But as a couple of quick fire questions, if you don't mind. What's in your current tech stack, your sales tech stack, and why?
In our sales tech stack, so of course like a CRM that like drives like almost like everything. We use Mixpanel to gather like usage data, and it's integrated to the CRM. On top of that, we have like several like analytics on ad creatives. We do Google search also, so it's really important for us to like iterate and like have like a way to put tests
Yeah,
out. And That's basically it. Sometimes we do some of the analysis like ourselves manually,
yeah,
but having something that you can see like the whole journey for like each user, what they actually did, what like if it's like more like sales oriented, like what were like the conversations like, and try to like um, in a way create these tests. This is like so important that so like we always have like analytics tools like in every like step of the way, and actually integrating them together.
yeah. What's your favorite Shuffll use case that you've heard from a customer?
Wow, we had okay, so we had like several companies creating like 10, 15 videos, like a series of videos in one day. So 15 videos, and they released it in several locations, but one of them was actually like through their website and email campaign that they did, and they got like so much engagement from that that even their competitors saw this and they said like, oh damn, like we have to do that, so now they are like clients also.
I love that. That's very cool. Anything that you're reading or listening to at the moment that you would recommend checking out?
Hmm. Interesting. So usually I watch video.
Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah,
yeah, and I watch like pretty boring stuff. I would say that like things that are like less like business oriented. Like
yeah,
usually it's around like building products. So I watch like YC's. They have like a product series, so like how to build product, how to do sales, and some of them are like pretty good lectures, I would say. This is like on YouTube. And also like I watch like some more like nerdy stuff about like astrophysics and all these
nice. Love
things
it.
that won't lead to more sales. I
Yeah,
promise you that.
no, but it will take you to the moon. Um,
Yeah, probably.
um, Anything in particular you'd like to mention before we sign off?
Um, yeah, because we talk to like business like professionals. I would say it's gonna be painful sometimes.
Hmm.
I encourage like people here to use whatever comes like new technology to make it like a bit less painful and not force it. And last is just build this resilience. Try to be better than your competitors like all the time. Uh, Look further like what's going to come up like next, and try to predict, and if I can help in any way, don't be afraid to like reach out and use video, of course, to sell your merch. Yeah,
Love it. Love it, of course. Well, thank you, Isaac, and thank you for listening to the Evolve Pipedrive podcast. We talk all things Pipedrive, sales, apps, and Pipedrive marketplace. At Evolve, we're a technology consultancy based in the UK, working globally, helping businesses get more out of Pipedrive and the wider tech stack. If you found this insightful, please do let us know what you thought. Hit the comments, like, subscribe, and share with someone you think would like this conversation. Isaac, once again, thank you very much.
thank you for having me, man. It was great. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure.